transfer your already made HACCP plan into a HARP-C plan or a food safety plan. All right, so by the end of today, we're going to talk about some factors that actually contributed to this Food Safety Modernization Act, the 5 key elements to it. So Food Safety Modernization Act, here on out, I'm going to call it FSMA, okay? It's just a lot easier, and FSMA, that's what we're calling it. So the 5 key elements to FSMA, we'll talk about why we have preventive controls for human food regulation put into play underneath the FSMA Act. We're going to understand the scope and the intent of the food safety plan and hopefully follow a roadmap for a successful transition from your HACCP plan to a food safety plan. And there might be a few other FSMA rules and regulations that impact food safety, and we will briefly go over those at the end. Okay, so just take a second and think about it. What factors, what played a role? What do you guys think contributed to the overhauling of the food safety regulations in the United States? Okay, because FSMA has been is a sweeping change in over 70 years to food safety. So what pushed that? You know, what contributed to having those rules overhauled? Well, let's take a look at some numbers. Okay, 31 known pathogens versus unspecified agents. What's important here? Take a look at this last column, the numbers. These numbers are extremely high. All right, we've got 9.4 million people, estimated illnesses from those 31 known pathogens, that's 20%. Okay, 55,000, some are hospitalized, and deaths, 1,300 deaths, just for those known pathogens. Don't forget some of those known pathogens are also, those do include like salmonella, listeria, E. coli, Listeria monocytogenes. And then we have those unspecified agents. Well, what does that mean, right? Unspecified agents, that leaves a lot of room for improvement. Take a look at the number, 56%, okay, for unspecified agents. These are big numbers, okay? These are food safety failures in the industry. All right. What is the #1 reason for FDA food recalls? I think, Simon, this was a polling question.
Well, it's not a voting question. Just type in the sidebar what you think for FDA product recalls is.
Okay, so my mistake there. I already gave you the answer. All righty, sorry about that. Okay.
Right, so it's allergens followed by salmonella. Okay.
Yeah, so the #1 reason for FDA product recalls is allergens, and the second reason is salmonella. So we'll see this on the chart over here if you guys can see this, okay? So the blue, undeclared allergens, #1 reason for FDA product recalls. Salmonella being the second in the red, and the green, we have Listeria monocytogenes. And then we've got some others down here too. A lot of them fall under chemical hazards as well. We've got pathogenic E. coli, which is a biological hazard. We've got other, that always bothers me. Foreign objects. Let's take a look at that real quick, because we're going to be talking about this when we talk about our food safety plan and how we're going to transition it from HACCP. A lot of our HACCP hazard analyses are focused around foreign physical objects. Well, but look at how many recalls we've had, less than 1%, okay? And then this is from the annual reportable food registry from 2013, so I'm sure these numbers are a little bit older, okay? But what does that tell you guys? Does it say that we have control, we've got a pretty good hold of foreign physical objects in our product? Yeah, I'd say so, if the recalls are less than 1%. So HACCP has helped us with that. now we have to start focusing, not now, but we need to start also focusing on the other potential hazards that we have, or known and reasonably foreseeable hazards that are definitely, that can affect food safety in our product. So HACCP has helped definitely control that physical hazard, and we're going to work on those other ones. Oops, next. Again, some contributing factors. Okay, so FSMA, food safety modernization got passed. That's from consumers. There was a lot of consumer pressure put on Congress. All right, so look, again, we're going to take a look at some numbers. 89% of Americans said that they supported a more aggressive food safety and defense regulation. All right, so that's the FDA. 61% of Americans supported FSMA, strongly supported this sweeping modernization act. 94% of these companies agree that they should be mandated. 94% of Americans agree that companies should be mandated to show traceability back to its original source. For those of you that are in the, we already doing these things, maybe for an audit scheme that you might have, or maybe you're doing it for custom requirements. So now all we're saying is that under FSMA, it's the consumers that said, we want to see all this stuff happening in those food companies. So they now want to see traceability. Can you trace your product? Can you trace it even back to overseas, potentially? And we're going to talk about one of those too. It's called the Foreign Supplier Verification Program. It's another element under FSMA. All right, 91% agree that the FDA should inspect food facilities at least every 6 to 12 months. Okay, could you imagine the government showing up to your food factory every 6 to 12 months? That is a lot. You already probably get a ton of inspections and audits, and now the government's going to start coming in that often. That'd be nice. Would be a perfect world. Well, it can't happen. Okay, it's just not there yet to have those inspections. But they do have a timeline for inspections, and it's based on what kind of product you make, high risk versus low risk. That will depend on how often you get an FDA inspection. There are some other outlining factors to keep in mind based on FDA inspections. If you have had a recall, if you are having problems in your facility, that may mark more FDA inspections. All right, 92% of the consumers felt that companies should be testing for contamination and that they should report those results to the government. So that would go back to the listeria and the salmonella, those biological hazards potentially. Consumers feel that companies should report those findings to the government. And in some cases, it is a requirement to report those positive findings. All right, so